Hi, this is Sue for Parkies and Me, My Journey with Parkinson's. I was just reading some posts on a Facebook page that I've started following, and the discussion was about medication. Now, I think it's a very personal thing whether you are happy to go on medication immediately or wish to wait, and many people were saying that they have tried holistic means of controlling their Parkinson's and their symptoms thereof. And that's all very well, and I support people in doing anything that works for them. But for me, I know when my neurologist diagnosed me that he put me on medications immediately, and I was told, and I have read, that the sooner you get on medications the better. Now, I'm very lucky that I don't have any symptoms that I can think of that are caused by medications, and you know that they are my friend. They help to keep me functioning, and I think that they help me in many ways. I don't have any tremors. I have had the odd breakthrough every now and again, just very, very odd breakthrough, but other than that, I haven't really had any tremors that I could sort of remember. There might have been a little bit of a twitch here and there, maybe when I was anxious. I know when I was in the dentist chair once, my arm started to twitch, and so I sort of held it with my other arm, and then my leg started to twitch, and I put it down to my sort of fear of the dentist, if you like. I think what I find difficult when in the dentist chair is the water going down my throat, and I do have a bit of a swallowing issue, and I always worry about choking when I'm in the dentist chair. And so yeah, I was really, really nervous this time, but I've since changed dentists within the practice, and the one that I'm with now is very understanding and takes things very slowly and stops and asks me if I'm okay, so that's great. The interesting thing for me is when people say, oh, everybody's journey is different, you can say, you can take that with a grain of salt, and you can look at other people's journeys and think, yeah, mine's very similar. But for me, both my dad and then my mum later had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. So that's both my parents with Parkinson's. I have 3 older brothers. I'm the youngest and the only girl. And I always said that I would be the one to have Parkinson's. And so, it happens that I have got Parkinson's. And my mum and my dad were so different in their presentations. It was incredible. Like my dad, it seems, quite early on in the piece, he started to have trouble talking. He had trouble controlling his movements. And one of the kids, children, my children especially, have a sense of humour. And my dad was in a wheelchair, and the kids were noticing him getting jerky, and they said, what would happen if Granddad didn't have the brakes on? Would he go shooting back from the table? And they said this in front of my dad, and he just laughed and said, yeah, probably. But kids see the humour in things, and humour has been present in my life forever. My dad always had a fun sense of humour, slightly strange sense of humour, but that's something that I inherited. But with my kids, with my grandkids, I do joke about my condition. I don't like to call it a disease. I think that makes it sound scarier than it needs to be for me. The word disease for me conjures up something that you will give to other people that's contagious, and so I tend to use my condition when I talk about it. So my dad has been gone for a while now, but I do remember with medications that they used to have to admit him to Princess Margaret Hospital here in Christchurch so that they could get on top of his medications. So his medications they put something in place that would help to control the tremors, and then that would be difficult because it was controlling the tremors, but it was also stopping him being able to mobilise, to be able to walk and stand safely. So there was always a balance between controlling his jerky movements and dampening them to the point where he couldn't move at all. So yeah, Dad had frequent admissions, what it seemed like frequent admissions into hospital to sort that out. And he stopped being able to talk quite early on in the piece, and he used to kind of tune out when we were visiting him. And you know, my mum was a bad one because at that stage she didn't have Parkinson's, and she was a bad one for talking about him in front of him. And I remember one day she said, while we were standing there with there's myself and my husband and my mum, and we were talking, and she said something to him and he didn't respond. And she said, you know, I don't even know if he realises that we're here. And I said, Mum, he can hear you. Just because he can't get out, it doesn't mean that he's not actually hearing us. And I said to him one day, we were sitting there, and I think Mum had actually made that statement that he maybe couldn't hear us or understand or whatever. And so I was prattling on to him about my job, and he was away with the fairies. He was staring out the window and just wasn't tuning in. And I said, Oi, buggerlugs, I'm talking to you. And he turned round with the most beautiful smile and said, buggerlugs. And it made me laugh. It made us all laugh. And I said to Mum, see, he may not always be able to get out, but he's in there. You must remember that he's in there and not talk in front of him. And that was a good lesson, and I hope that she learnt it from there. So yeah, he stopped being able to talk for quite some time. But my mum, she was able to talk till the end. And she also had some dementia with it and hallucinations, and it didn't seem to upset her. You know, we would visit her and she would think that she was at work and had to get back to work, and it was lovely that we stopped in for a coffee. But, you know, the boss would be angry or annoyed if she overstayed her coffee break and things like that. And she hadn't worked for many a year. So, yeah, her journey was quite different, and she was able to talk pretty much till the last 6 months to a year, I think. So, yeah, it just illustrates for me that you just don't know how your journey's going to go. And, you know, Mum didn't have to have those admissions to hospital to correct her medication. She coped quite well. So I think, you know, even between my dad and then my mum getting Parkinson's, I think, you know, things change as the years go by. You know, what we experience as people with Parkinson's now, in 10 years' time may be quite different, and people may not experience the issues that we have right now. So life is changing. We're all individuals, and you know, the choice to have medications or not have medications is a very valid choice, and one that only the individual can make for themselves. And it's good on these forums on Facebook or wherever to talk about medications and to talk about whether we want them or not. But I think ultimately you need to make your own decision and just do what feels right for you. And I'm a bad one for not doing things like sort of vocal exercises and things like that, which I should be doing, and I'm going to try to do. But yeah, I think you just need to live your own life, take your own journey, take some information that suits you from the various blogs and podcasts and Facebook posts and Facebook pages. Take what you need, but don't replace good advice from a medical professional with what you see and hear in the wider community. Trust the professionals, trust yourself, trust your knowledge of your body, and do what feels right for you. So this has been Sue for Parkies and Me, my journey with Parkinson's. Kia kaha, be strong, be brave, be you.